What's up everyone, Steven here from TechMaker Studio. This is building a decentralized Twitter clone with React.js and Aleph.im part 3. So far, we have basically set up a basic layout. We are displaying some data from Aleph here in the center of the screen. And we have our, did not mean to zoom in like that. I have this new magic mouse acting funny. And then we have our account. You can see down here that we're logged in, which we're now truncating. And again, just to show this one more time, if we disconnect and refresh the screen, now it's going to tell us we are not connected here. Wondering if that actually, yeah, there it goes. It's bringing back the data even without us being connected, which is nice. But if we connect the wallet, now you'll see the address down here. Cool, so that's our sign-in system. So in this episode, what I want to do is basically just kind of start putting in a slightly more realistic looking style for this. So that as we build this out, it looks a little bit more correct. Probably will just be doing some styling in this episode and a little bit of React kind of functionality. Like we're going to change this to not be this ugly date string. Instead, we're going to have it be like on Twitter, where you can see like how long ago something was, so on and so forth. But with that said, let's go ahead and jump in. As always, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up, share this video with all your friends. But anyway, let's get started. So first things first, let's actually work on the colors, and I think I'm gonna switch to a dark theme for the moment. Now I'm not gonna copy Twitter exactly, which is pretty much just solid black, and then they have these borders. I think I'm gonna go with more of a card style for the moment. We may change it later, I'm not sure yet. But we're gonna start by flipping around the colors, setting up our cards, working on the fonts a little bit, and then we'll see where we get to. I don't want to spend 40 bajillion hours on this, but I want it to look cool. So, and I want you to kind of see me do that from scratch. So let's go to our app.css. So we can start by just saying body background color black, and let's go see what that looks like. Okay, so now we have a black background. I don't want it to be black though. Let's make it so this is VS Code has this cool feature where you hover here and we can kind of go pick a color. Let's do I like this 1E thing. Then let's do first of all, let's do H1, H2. Let's just reset all of our text. If I could type, and then we'll do span div, and then ul, li, ol. If I forgot anything, we'll find it later. We'll just say color white for now, like this. And then what I want to do is say card background color black, and let's go see what we got. Cool, so now we actually have kind of a dark theme, black cards in the middle, kind of a dark background. So one thing that might be cool to really put this in a different kind of look and feel than Twitter would be to have this be really not as flat. So have kind of, and it would also kind of fit the crypto style and ethos a little bit better in a lot of cases. For example, if we look at Sushi Swap, I kind of like all the bright gradients they have. In particular, you have this dark background with this kind of dark gray box and then this kind of glow behind it. I like that vibe a lot. We used a similar kind of vibe on Hot Potato. Not on the app or on the website, but on the actual. Not connected here. I don't have Polygon set up. But we have this sort of palm tree kind of thing. It looks cooler when the full app is loaded. You can see that here. It takes up a lot more of the screen, so the palm trees are a bit less prominent. But what if we found us a cool gradient? So As most of you probably guess, I don't have all this stuff memorized, so let's go Google this and say cool CSS Gradient Background. CSS Gradient.io, never seen this before. Gradient, that's kind of funny. I wonder if they have any like dark ones. These are all very bright. This actually looks a little bit like sushi. Let's copy the CSS here. Let's come over here. So what we're going to do is just paste, not in there. Let's go to the body. So we got so it sets a background color of this pink. This is going to be way too bright. But let's just save this and go look and see what it looks like, because it's going to be crazy. Wow. Okay, that's pretty wild. And the gradient didn't kick in. What if we get rid of the color there? It may be the case that, oh, okay. Yeah, you see that? So the images are, that's the problem. So what we want is the body to be height 100 BH. And then what we want is, actually, no, we're going to need to do something kind of different if we want to do this. Basically, this is what we're seeing here. So what we need is like a overlay like this. And what we want is to have position fixed. And then height 100 VH, width 100%, and then our body doesn't have anything in it. And then inside of our app, what we're going to do is say div class name equals overlay. Actually, I just put that inside of the app. Let's go see what that does. Cool, so now you can see that's pretty much what we want. Not really at all in terms of the color, to be honest, but in terms of the functionality where it's a fixed thing in the background. Okay, so let's go change up, I keep hitting the wrong thing there. Let's change the colors on this. So let's just go like kind of like deep into the purple here, like that. Let's go deep here. Let's go even deeper on this, well, like that. And then I'm just making this up, so as is the case, feel free to do this how you like. I'm gonna make this one almost black, and let's save that, and let's go see what we got. So you got this kind of like murky, weird blue. It's kind of nice. It might be a little too dark, I'm not sure. Let's do this. Let's make this just like a little bit more blue, like that. And make this, let's just lighten these up a tiny bit, maybe not that much. And that might be too much, I'm not sure. This is kind of a, does that seem different? I think it seems different. All right, so for this next thing, I'm gonna go to Materialize Css, and I like their shadow stuff that they have in here. I just kind of like the feel of it. I'm gonna go for this one, and we're just gonna snag the CSS. Actually, I don't want the whole framework, just to get their shadows, basically, is the deal here. If I can manage to copy this like that. And so all we need to do is in our card, just paste that, and let's go see what that does. It's already kind of a dark background, so it doesn't really do much in terms of like lifting it off the page. I'm gonna like kind of crank these up a little bit. So let's do like 34, 32, and 40. And do the same thing here. This is all just like eyeballing it right now. This is not exactly scientific at all. That's too much. It's way too much. Let's just make it up like a 17. Let's add 3 to everything. 15, 23. And I'm going to copy this because it's the same below instead of typing it all out again. And let's see what that looks like. I think that's kind of okay. We may change this later. I'm not sure. I'm not committed to this. It's always the case for me on this kind of stuff that like it doesn't look right when it's empty. So it takes a while and we have a lot left to do. So I'm just going to kind of leave this alone for the most part in terms of the colors for now. But just keep in mind this may not be permanent and you can do whatever you want. You don't have to copy what I'm doing. So if you hate it, do something different. Okay, so on the post, one thing I'm going to do really quick is just change this to be my 2 so that it's a little less spaced out, put them a little bit closer together. I think that works. Okay, so in terms of the address, let's go ahead and do this. Let's say class name equals address line, or let's say user like this. And then we're going to end up having a username here at some point. But for now, we just have this address. So I'm going to bold this. And then I'm going to move this time posted up into there. And let's save that and see what that looks like. Well, actually, you know what? I don't want this p tag here anymore. And I'm going to put a span of time around this. And this will all make more sense in just a minute. But now you can see here we've got the bolded address and then the text under. So the next thing I want to do is basically fix this timestamp here. And I'm wondering if there's like a time ago in words. Yep, JavaScript. Let's check this. So this actually comes from like Ruby on Rails originally, I think was the programming framework that was running Twitter, and there's a method called time ago in words in Rails that kind of nicely formats stuff. This is kind of interesting. Time since date. This is interesting. Let's try this. And again, this is just, I'll test this out a little bit later to make sure it covers exactly what we want, but let's just try this. Let's actually, and yes, we did just copy something straight from Stack Overflow and say and then now we're gonna just try it. So we're gonna take a date, arrow function, time since date. Okay, so what this is doing, if the interval is greater than 1, math floor interval, and then they're doing years. Let's do Y. So this is going to really look like Twitter in this case. And let's do H. So I kind of like this just really simple letter kind of deal here. Right. Okay, so time since. So return new date. And what we're going to do is say time since new date, and then we're going to get rid of the local string. So this takes a date, right? Okay, so it's just taking the seconds, and then it takes a new date, which is the now, subtract the date, divide by 1,000, blah, blah, blah. So it's converting back into a timestamp. Okay, I buy this. I'll check it out a little more detailed later. But let's see how it's working. That's not a good sign. Cannot access time since before initialization. Let's take this. This will be one, if this works, this will become a thing that we bump into our utilities, and to that end I'm gonna go ahead and put it here. And then I'm going to pass it in. So that's all the way up in our app. And the reason specifically is because I think I'm probably going to pause on dropping new stuff here pretty soon and make a utilities deal. But for now, I think this works. So then in posts, we'll do times sense equals props.timeSense. This is the one thing about React that always bugs me, is like we're passing in all these dependencies all the way down the chain. I know there's ways to handle it, but you always end up with this in the beginning. So let's do props.timeSense here. So far it's not too bad. Let's see if that worked. Let's refresh. Any day now. Okay, so it's still broken. Props.timeSense is not a function. I don't understand why it's not a function. Maybe I didn't save a file. Maybe. Props.timeSense is not a function. Maybe it's because I'm in a callback. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe if I cut this and actually just use state directly, maybe that will work. If that doesn't, I'm just wondering if that had to do with like function scope. But it doesn't like it still. So why is that not a function? Posts. Oh, I put it in the wrong place. That's why. There you go. That'll do it to you every time. Easy. All right. So you got this, 11 minutes, 11 minutes, 18 minutes, so on and so forth. If we go all the way down, we got days down here. We got months all the way at the bottom. It's not a lot of posting activity going on here. Okay, so sorry for the detour, but that's sorted now. So what we want to do here is add this and nothing but space, just to space that out. Let's have a look at it. Okay, how spaced out is that on Twitter? They actually have this little dot. Let's do the little dot. Why not? So like this. Okay, so now we have a little dot. Twitter has a little dot. That looks good. And what we want to do, actually, I'm going to copy this whole deal. And then inside of time, or for time, we're going to say time color. And let's make it like 777. That may be too, it's kind of like in the middle. Let's give that a shot. Let's try that out. Maybe a little too light or too dark. Let's kind of go here. I like that. That looks pretty good. So one thing we still need to do is add the profile picture like we have here. So you can see it's on the left side and it's just all empty under it. So for now, what I'm gonna do is just grab mine, which is this NFT that I bought a little while back from the Punkiverse Pleb Punks, which is cool. Okay, so I'm gonna just like drop this into my, maybe let's rename it like Pleb, and then I'm gonna drop this into my project. How can I get back over here? this one. Let's just drop it in components for now, and then we will put a new folder in here. I guess that went into, where'd that go? Here. All right, so inside of source, I'm going to create a new folder, images. And inside of images, I'm going to drop this, move it. And to set this up in our post, and again, they're all going to have the same one for now, but that's okay. I'd rather have something like this for the moment instead of just an ugly placeholder. So we'll find a placeholder later, but what we need to do is import, let's say a profile. Let's do PFP from, what would that be? So we're in post, so we need to go up 2 levels, and then we'll go images, and then pleb.jpg, like that. And inside of our card body, what we're going to need to do is say, let me actually do this below the, we don't need this now, kind of know what we got. So we'll make a row, and then inside of our row, we're going to say class name equals, and let's do col, gosh, let's do 2, but I think 1, let's do 1. That may not be big enough. Let's do 2, and we'll see. And then in here, let's just do image source equals PFP, and then we'll say styles, and I'm just gonna do something like actually, you know what, I'm gonna add a class to this and do this in my CSS. So we'll say class name equals PFP, and let's see if that shows up. It's probably gonna be huge. Yeah. All right, so don't need that open. .pfp, and let's say the width is 100%, and let's see what that does. So how do we set that? That's a column of 1, or is it a column of 2? I can't remember. I just did it and I can't remember. That might, let's try 1 here. Okay, so 1 is tiny, 2 is a little big. But let's do this. Let's say, where was that? Let's do 80, like that. And let's do border radius 50%. So we're starting to look a little familiar here, hopefully. And then in our post, we're gonna do class name equals, and again, remember this is a 12-row column grid, or 12-column grid in Bootstrap here. So we'll do col 10 to fill out the rest. And now this should all line up correctly. Okay, so how does this compare? So the image, we're not using the space very effectively right now, and we probably won't use the rows realistically. Let's see what happens if I don't need this, this, or this, and let's just see what happens if I click, or if I cut that down to 1 just to kind of see a little bit. That would be 11, that would be 1. And then let's make this 100 now. Yeah, so now it's tiny, so that's no good. So for now, let's stick with this. 10, there we go, cool. Okay, so just a couple more small things, and then I think we'll wrap this up. And again, like we're going in the direction of Twitter here, but we're gonna kind of do our own goofy thing just to kind of make it fun. So, as you can tell, but let's go back over to the code. One thing I'm kind of wanting to do is in this list of posts, I kind of want to do something like this. I want to say H1, and then I want like a, is that going to work? I need to go to a browser probably. So I want like a hello. So we'll throw an emoji here and then just say hello. Like that. And then we'll make this P or M class name equals MY3 maybe. Let's go see what that looks like. Why is there nothing here? Is it? Huh, what is happening? Maybe it needs a Z index or something because of the overlay. Let's try to change the overlay Z index. Z index 0 -1. There it goes. Alright, so that's what we need to do. It's kind of a weird, it's a weird hack there. I don't know if I needed to do that and I just forgot or what. Anyway, so now our thing's a little bit friendlier. Just gonna play with the spacing on all this stuff a little bit and see what I think about it. But on the posts, class name user, let's make this MB0 first of all and see what that looks like. So now that kind of just everything zips up to right there. Let's look at Twitter. So you can see you have like the information here and then the text is really just right below. Doesn't look totally different, to be honest. We'll definitely need to pick a different font, but I'm not going to do that today. The next thing I'm going to do though is on the hello thing, which we may or may not keep. Let's do MT5 and then MB4. That's what I want. Yeah, just kind of like pushes it down from the top of the screen a little bit. It's a little more grouped together with the content, but it's obviously not with the content. So it'd be funny to do is to have like, I don't know, I mean, again, we don't have to do anything in particular that we don't want, but what might be fun would be to have like the weather, like, hey, the weather in your town is whatever. So just kind of as a nice little greeting. So anyway, I think this is kind of coming together. Again, we're going to make it our own as we go. I apologize. It's 10 p.m. here. I'm a little bit tired. It's been a long day. So if I seem a little bit out of it, that's why. Why is my wallet not connected? Oh, there it goes. That's pretty weird. In any case, yeah, so in the next episode, what we're going to do is switch to our own data model and get it set up so that you can post messages. And then we'll obviously have a lot more work to do in a whole bunch of different areas. But anyway, I think this is kind of off to a cool start. It's been 3 episodes. They've been a little bit weird episodes, honestly, for me. They're a little more unstructured than I'm even used to. But I think it's going in a cool direction. We just need to come up with like a cool name for this that's not Twitter clone. We need to add the like login deal here, build out the profile. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to do. But we're going to get there. And I think it's going to be super, super, super cool when it's done. And yeah, so if you're enjoying this, definitely, as always, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I'll talk to you in the next episode.